Hey everyone, ever looked at a map and wondered about that giant white blob at the top? I'm talking about Greenland. It's the world's largest island, bigger than France, Germany, and Spain combined, yet home to fewer people than a small town. Sounds pretty remote, right? But what if I told you this quiet, icy giant is already whispering secrets that could impact your energy bill, the price of your groceries, and even global stability? Sounds wild, doesn't it? Let's dive in and uncover why this blank space on the map is anything but empty when it comes to our wallets. Imagine an island so vast, you could fit several major European countries inside it, yet its entire population could barely fill a medium-sized football stadium. That's Greenland for you. A land of breathtaking glaciers, majestic fjords, and a population of roughly 56,000 souls. It's a place that feels almost untouched, a true blank space on the global stage. But this very emptiness, this pristine vastness, is precisely what makes it so incredibly important and potentially so disruptive to the global economy. Now, let's talk treasure. Beneath those icy waters and frozen lands, the entire Arctic region, and Greenland is a huge, pivotal part of it, is estimated to hold about 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and a whopping 30% of its natural gas. Think about that for a second. That's enough energy to power entire continents for years. As global demand for energy continues to climb, and traditional sources become more complex and costly to extract, these untapped reserves become incredibly attractive, almost like a hidden chest waiting to be opened. But wait, there's more. Even more critical than oil and gas are something called rare earth elements. These aren't just fancy rocks, they're the secret sauce in your smartphone, your electric car, the wind turbines generating clean energy, and even advanced defense systems. They're absolutely essential for modern technology and our transition to a greener future. Here's the kicker. The European Union, for example, currently relies on one single country, China, for over 90% of its rare earth elements. That's a huge dependency, right? Official EU documents openly call this single-source dependence a strategic risk, a vulnerability that could cripple industries if supply lines are disrupted. Guess what? Greenland is sitting on some of the largest known deposits of these rare earths outside of China. So, Greenland isn't just about the sheer quantity of resources. It's about diversifying our supply chains and reducing critical vulnerabilities that could otherwise lead to global economic instability. So, how does this remote island connect to your daily life? Let's talk about energy prices. In places like Europe and the United States, energy costs typically make up about 7 to 10% of your consumer price index, or CPI. That's the basket of goods and services that measures inflation. But the real impact is much bigger than that percentage suggests. When energy prices jump by just 10%, it can push up the final prices of almost everything else by approximately 0.3 to 0.5%. Why? Because everything from transporting your food to manufacturing your clothes, from heating your home to powering your devices, relies on energy. It's a classic domino effect. Higher energy costs ripple through the entire economy, making everything more expensive for you, the consumer. And here's the fascinating and frankly, a bit scary part. Prices don't wait for an actual shortage. Just the potential times for tension in the Arctic, say geopolitical jostling over those valuable resources, can trigger a reaction. Concerns about future supply lead the futures market to react, and suddenly, current prices start climbing. It's like a rumor starting in the schoolyard. Even if it's not true yet, the consequences can be real and immediate. So, even if no oil is drilled or no rare earth is mined, the mere Greenland issue and the geopolitical risks associated with it can already make your gas tank and your grocery bill more expensive long before any actual resource extraction begins. Now, let's shift gears to something less visible but equally impactful: security. With all these valuable resources and strategic shipping routes, the Arctic, including the vast expanse around Greenland, is becoming a hotspot for global powers. The United States, for instance, already allocates billions of dollars every year for Arctic-related defense spending, and it's not cheap to operate in this extreme environment. Establishing new surveillance systems, building military bases, setting up communication infrastructure, or even just operating specialized icebreakers in the Arctic can cost 2 to 3 times more than similar operations in more temperate regions. Think about the specialized equipment required, the extreme weather challenges, the complex logistics of supplying remote outposts. Where does this money come from? Well, it's simple. Fiscal deficits, increased taxes, or inflation. All of these ultimately come out of citizens' pockets, affecting your purchasing power and the overall health of the economy, whether you realize it or not. Finally, let's talk about trade routes. Imagine a shipping route between Asia and Europe that's up to 40% shorter than the traditional Suez Canal route. That's the promise of the Arctic shipping route, made possible by melting ice. Sounds like a game changer for global trade, right? Faster delivery, lower fuel costs, reduced transit times, in theory. But here's the current reality check. Insurance premiums for ships navigating these icy, unpredictable waters are several times higher than normal routes. And for now, the number of days per year that ships can safely navigate is still limited by ice conditions and weather. So, in the short term, this shortcut actually times increases, times costs, and uncertainty for companies. And what do companies do when their costs and risks go up? They pass it on to you, the consumer, in the form of higher prices. So, that faster route might mean your imported goods are actually more expensive for now, adding another layer of complexity to global supply chains. So, to sum it all up, this vast, sparsely populated island of Greenland, through its incredible resource potential, its strategic location, and the challenges of operating in its extreme environment, is already quietly influencing our reliance on specific countries for critical resources, the structure of global energy prices, the ever-growing costs of defense and security, and the uncertainty and cost of global logistics. The important takeaway isn't when will this all explode, but rather that the market, the global economy, is already factoring in these possibilities. It's like a giant, slow-moving iceberg. Most of it is hidden beneath the surface, but its immense presence is already changing the currents around it. The quieter the island, the louder its numbers speak. So, next time you see Greenland on a map, remember, it's not just a pretty picture. It's a key player in the global economic story, and its silent roar is already being heard in your wallet. Stay curious, and we'll explore more economic mysteries next time.